Sophie Cunningham's injury scared everybody half to death, man.
So Sophie Cunningham went down with what did not look like the greatest injury.
Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White just delivered a serious curveball regarding Sophie Cunningham's injury. And no, it's not your typical "she's progressing well" kind of update. There's more to this story, layers tension, and a couple plot twists no one had on their preseason bingo card if you thought Sophie would be back on the floor with some tape and a pep talk. Think again.
He went down, rolled her ankle after landing on Ryan Howard's leg, which is not an ideal situation, not an ideal thing at all coming into this.
Ideal thing at all coming into the season now. Let's be clear, Sophie Cunningham is not Indiana's biggest scorer or flashiest playmaker. But what she is irreplaceable. The fire, the enforcer, the physical tone setter. She's the one who makes sure no opponent feels comfortable out there. So when Coach White broke the update on Sophie's recovery, it wasn't just a medical update. It was a cultural one. Because losing Sophie, even temporarily, isn't about missing buckets. It's about missing presence, toughness, and the emotional thermostat of this team. If you're excited for Sophie, and the Fever too, return to action, comment spicy Sophie down below. Let's go.
Let's talk to this game. Number one, the starters for Indiana were okay, right? We ended up seeing a change in the starting lineup. We saw Sophie Cunningham get the starting nod. However, Sophie Cunningham had to go out of the game. I forgot what half that was, if that was in the first half or the second half. But Sophie Cunningham was coming down. She was in the air, coming down. She ended up rolling her ankle on Ryan Howard's foot. She went out of the game, was on the bench for a little while, and I believe she went to the locker room, but she did not return.
The update itself wasn't all doom and gloom, but it did pull back the curtain on just how vital Sophie is to Indiana's ecosystem. She's not the headline grabber Caitlin Clark owns that spotlight, but she's the one doing the dirty work, making it easier for everyone else to shine. Cunningham doesn't chase glory. She chases loose balls, rotates on defense like her life depends on it, and stares down anyone who thinks they'll take liberties with her teammates. She's got the kind of role that doesn't show up in highlight reels, but every coach and player knows you can't win without a Sophie.
Sophie Cunningham got injured, okay? She got injured. She landed on her ankle the wrong way. Let's go ahead and look through the play right now, all right? So here she is here, coming for the rebound, boom, and lands on Ryan Howard's foot the wrong way, and she was holding it, man.
When the injury first happened, there was a brief sense of denial around the team. Maybe it's just a knock, some thought she'll shake it off, because that's what Sophie does, gets banged up, wipes off the dust, and jumps back in. But this time was different. The pain lingered. The scans came back, and suddenly, the team had to reckon with the idea of playing even temporarily without their enforcer. It's like removing the guardrails on a roller coaster. It might still run, but it sure feels less stable now.
At that moment, everybody was scared in the live stream, fam. I was holding my breath. My face was fixed a certain way that looked crazy. I mean, we were scared in there, okay? Now, the main thing is, yes, she twisted her ankle, okay? And she was out for the rest of the game.
Coach White didn't mince words. She made it clear that Cunningham's absence leaves a void, not necessarily in points per game, but in the kind of muscle and mental toughness that turns competitive games into wins. Sophie's the one who barks defensive calls, gets under opponent's skin, and celebrates charges. Like their dunks, she's the kind of player who gives a team its edge. Without her, Indiana will have to dig deeper, and someone else will have to pick up the grit she always brings to the court.
Just giving a different kind of look and seeing what we might be able to do from that standpoint with Sophie's energy in the starting lineup and with DB's production coming off the bench. So, we'll probably continue throughout the course of the week tinkering a little bit. But preseason gives us a good opportunity to see what we like, because it's important to have a good starting group and it's important to have energy out and production off the bench.
But don't get it twisted. Sophie's not sulking on the sidelines. Nope. She's already plotting rehab. Isn't just a recovery plan for her. It's a mission, a checklist, a "you thought I was done" moment in the making. And if you followed her career, you know she's not one. To hang back, she's likely counting the minutes until she can body check someone in the paint again. This isn't a setback for her, it's a delay. And when she comes back, expect her to bring all that frustration with her channeled into the kind of basketball that leaves bruises and turns tides.
Sophie's injury too, like, is there any update on that?
I don't think so. She was in there getting it in a cold tub, so she keeps saying I'll be fine, so I trust her.
Now, what does this mean for the immediate future? Coach White was measured, but honest, there's no panic. But there is urgency. Sophie's timetable is unclear. And while there's optimism, there's also reality. The team is rallying, of course. Caitlin Clark continues to dazzle. Kelsey Mitchell is heating up. Aaliyah. Boston is a two-way menace, but there's an awareness that without Sophie out there mixing it up, Indiana needs to adjust not just their lineups, but
game. So I hope that Sophie Cunningham is okay. Again, it looks like a rolled ankle, so hopefully it's not too bad. Maybe she's out for a day or so, we'll see. We'll find out an update from the Indiana Fever. But Sophie Cunningham did go out of the game.
The bottom line, Sophie's absence may not make headlines, but her return will feel seismic. She's the Fever spine, the heartbeat that doesn't always get noticed until it's gone. And while the league continues to fawn over flash and finesse, Indiana knows the real secret sauce is grit, and nobody brings the grit like Sophie. So while she rehabs with the same fire she brings to every possession, know this: she'll be back. And when she is, don't expect a slow re-entry, expect a storm. Because Sophie Cunningham doesn't ease her way into anything, she kicks the door down, plants a flag, and reminds everyone that while she may not be the star of the show, she's the one making sure the lights stay on and the roof doesn't cave in. Until then, the Fever will grind, they'll battle, and they'll keep that spot warm for their enforcer in chief. Because when Sophie returns, she's not just rejoining the squad, she's rebooting its soul.
That's a positive thing. She was like trying to see if she could get back in the game. Obviously, they're not dumb. They're not going to put her back into a preseason game. But she was trying to get back into the game, which is big. Like, if we're honest, that is genuinely big.
Stephanie White, the unshakable tactician leading the Indiana Fever, doesn't do panic. If anything, she probably heard the latest on Sophie Cunningham's status, nodded once, and calmly went back to drawing up plays on a napkin. Because when it comes to Sophie, White knows she's not just losing a career. She's temporarily missing the engine that keeps the team running at full throttle. And while this isn't your run-of-the-mill, she'll be back soon injury update, it also isn't a season-ending tragedy. It's a layered update that raises questions, fuels debates, and makes it crystal clear that this team isn't the same without Sophie holding things down. Let's be real, Sophie Cunningham isn't the face of the franchise, that's Caitlin Clark, but she is the fire behind it. She's the kind of player who ties everything together, part enforcer, part energizer bunny, part chaos coordinator. Her injury news hit like a thud, not because the team collapses without her, but because it loses its edge. Sophie doesn't just play, she stabilizes. She's the grit that makes the glamour work when a game needs attitude, toughness, or just someone to mix it up under the basket. Sophie's the one getting her hands dirty. Her absence doesn't signal doom, it signals a shift in the Fever's entire dynamic. Because Cunningham's the type of competitor who treats rehab not as a timeout, but as an intermission in her own action movie.
But she is okay, all right? It did look like it could have been something worse because of how she landed, and it was like more so of an Achilles looking stretch instead of a twisted sideways foot. So that's what scared me. But nonetheless, man, it came out that it was a twisted ankle and she was okay, and she was just going to sit out for the rest of the game.
And we all know Sophie isn't interested in sympathy. While most players might spend an injury timeout with an ice pack and a quiet recovery plan, Sophie's out here plotting her re-entry. Like she's coming off a secret mission. Her rehab isn't just physical, it's strategic. She's probably already watching film, studying every rotation, texting the rookies reminders to box out. This isn't a setback in Sophie's world. It's a loading screen before she boots back up and delivers a few more hard fouls and hustle plays. The second Sophie hit the floor after that mystic shove, she popped back up like gravity had personally offended her. No dramatics, no hesitation, just a steely glare. and a silent promise to return stronger. That wasn't just resilience, that was trademark Cunningham. She eats contact for breakfast. Pain isn't a problem, it's just a pit stop. That's what makes her the perfect counterbalance to Indiana's finesse. When the Fever need flash, they've got Caitlin Clark. But when they need fire, that's all Sophie.
Oh my God, Sophie's a dog. She just is. She's a competitor. She's versatile, so she allows us to do different things. Like, she plays with such a toughness. She's huge, and she's going to be for us all season long. But what she brings from an energy standpoint, she raises the level of play of everybody around her as soon as she steps foot on the floor. Hell, even on the sideline. I mean, her communication, everything. She's definitely an expert.
You want to know how important Sophie Cunningham is to this squad? Take her off the floor, and the Fever start looking off the rotations. Don't snap together the same way the pace feels just a little too polite. Sophie's not just the vocal leader, she's the one who sets the emotional temperature. Think of her like a defensive thermostat. When opponents start getting bold, she turns up the heat. When games get messy, she leans into the chaos and finds rhythm in it. That's not something you find in stat sheets. That's something you feel.
That's Kiki Arifin, and I got to tell you, here we go with the smiling like you've done. I don't get it. This is the worst part of the WNBA. It is.
She's not dropping 40 every night, but she doesn't have to. She's the reason others get to shine. She clears space. She takes charges. She barks orders like a point guard in a power forward's body. And don't let the tough exterior fool you. Sophie is smart. Her basketball IQ is high. Her instincts are sharp, and her ability to read a game's momentum is elite. When she's on the bench, you miss that voice. When she's on the court, you feel her presence.
I mean, yikes. Kiki, the new Kennedy. A lot of people not happy. Demon Sophie, yeah, she showed up. Look at this. They're celebrating that. Okay. I mean, it's crazy. Here we go again. She's yelling while Kiki's laughing in her face. Never seen a rook have a vet so rattled.
You want to know how important Sophie Cunningham?
The analogy, everyone loves Sophie's the glue. But not just any glue. She's that industrial strength adhesive that keeps the whole thing from falling apart. Without her, the Fever are still a talented group, sure. But there's something missing. It's like a great band without the drummer, technically functional, but lacking pulse. Sophie gives them that beat. She makes them tick, and right now with her out, the team's trying to figure out how to keep the rhythm going until she gets back.
Well, first and foremost, they play so hard. They play with multiple levels of effort. They're both just tough as nails. They have length. They use their length really well. Their activity level on the defensive end and offensively. I mean, they're like mirror images of one another. I mean, the way that they can cut, the way that they can spread the floor, and what they bring on the defensive.
Sophie's story isn't about being the biggest name on the marquee. It's about being the name you circle in the locker room when you say we need someone to set the tone. She's the kind of player who won't let her team quit, won't let the pace drop, and won't let opponents get comfortable. And even now sidelined, she's likely making her voice heard in practice, in the huddle, on every Zoom film session. Because her leadership doesn't turn off with an injury. If anything, it amplifies.
Make sure that your home court is special to you as a team, but you want to make it hard as heck for other people to come in here to Gamebridge, and they don't want to play here, right? And I think with that, as an energy player, you got to get your fans involved. That's our sixth man right there.
So what's next for the Fever without Sophie? They'll adjust, they'll adapt, and they'll survive. But they can't wait until their enforcer is back where she belongs, checking the opposing team's most physical player, talking trash with a grin, and diving for balls like it's Game 7 of the finals. The glue will return, and when she does, Indiana's whole energy changes. One thing is guaranteed: Sophie Cunningham will re-enter the lineup the same way she always does, loud, focused, and impossible to ignore. And if the Fever are chasing a deep playoff run, she's the one they'll need. Lighting the fire. If you're excited for Sophie and the Fever to return to action, comment Spicy Sophie down below, like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next.
Put Sophie in position where she was running the point guard, right? We put Lexi in position at the end of the game where she was running the point guard. And so
I'm thankful to have players like that who are comfortable being uncomfortable and doing what's necessary for our team to find success. I mean, that's part of, one of our core values is be selfless, and sometimes that means playing out of position. And I thought they both did a great job of that, but really like their energy and competitive spirit.